Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is May 6th. We are past Cinco de Mayo. We are past May the 4th. It is back to normal days until probably like Memorial Day, which is a ways away still. This is still playing in the background. We don't want that playing. Turn off. There we go. That's better. That has been quieted. That's good. We are back. It is episode, I think, 29 is what I've got written down. So almost like 30. That's a lot. But I guess that just kind of is a reflection of the times that we are currently in. How exciting. How is everybody's hump day going today? Hopefully pretty well. So far it's been going pretty well over here too. We're working through some manual pages stuff for Illinois. Super duper fun. But that's okay. What else is going on out there in the world? It is sunny and nice out looking. At least it looks nice out here in Des Moines. I have not gone outside today yet. I don't know how warm it is. It looks warm. It looks slightly breezy, but not too bad. Certainly better than the rain that I woke up to yesterday. So that's good. But blue skies, fluffy white clouds. It looks quite nice outside. Maybe I'll go for a run today. I don't know. We shall see. I was looking. So I use Strava for run and ride logging and stuff. And every month they've got challenges to sign up for, and then shortly after like a month ends, they will send you stats on your activities for the last month. So I had like my April stats came in today into my Gmail inbox. And it was like, oh, hey, you rode only like, you had like 3 fewer miles or some very small number, at least in terms of distance covered in April compared to March. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool. That makes sense. Glad to see that. But then it jumped to the elevation climbed, and I had climbed like half the amount of elevation that I did in March. So I climbed like 9,000 some feet in April maybe, and I think I had done like 19,000 in March, and this is partially due to the different challenges that I've been on Zwift. It's like, oh, I did very different riding, I guess, in March, and I probably rode a lot more thinking about it now because, well, if you got just a few more miles, but you got a lot more elevation in there, you probably in general had a lot more activities. Like, okay, 15 active days, 13 fewer miles, and it says that I only had 4 fewer hours of activity, so that's good. But yeah, definitely, 10,692 feet less than last month. That's significantly less. It's like, okay, did like 50%, which is fine. But then with the new month, Strava has obviously a bunch of different challenges that are available, and it's like, oh yeah, it's always fun to kind of sign up for them. But the size of them, huge, and there's not really like little like gradual ones that you can kind of sign up for. It's like, oh, I'm going to aim to do like 100 miles in running or like 50 and such. No, it's like, okay, no, you can set goals, I believe, in Strava if you are a subscriber. I am not. So that's certainly part of it. But if I go to challenges, and they've got a variety of different challenges. They've got run a 5K, they've got run a 10K, then they've got bike a Grand Fondo, which I might actually do. That's 100 kilometers, and if I do that near the end of May, especially if I build up to it a little bit, I might be able to do that. That's like 60 some miles. That's not too bad, and there's some pretty flat courses on Zwift that I could do that on. I don't want to try to do that outside. That'd be kind of a pain to try to figure out. It's doable, but trying to map that around Des Moines, I think, would be a bit of a pain. But yeah, they've got like, okay, yeah, your cycle, like they have run climbing and run distance, and then cycling distance and cycling climbing. So for the running distance challenge, their challenge is run a total of 200 kilometers, which if we say that there are 1.61 kilometers per mile, that's saying they're challenging to run 124 miles in a month, which if you divide that by 31, that's 4 miles a day. That's a lot. That's a lot of stress on your legs unless you're used to doing a lot of distance running, and I'm not. I went for a run on Friday, but I think that was the first run I had gone on for like 5 months. In fairness, I had biked a bunch, but my legs were certainly not used to the stress of running, so I felt it for a couple of days. But yeah, 4 miles a day to get that. That's kind of impressive. The cycling distance challenge is 1,250 kilometers, which again, divide that by 1.61. It is 776 miles. So I essentially need to triple the amount of miles that I've ridden in the last couple of months to do it within the month of May to be able to achieve that challenge. So there's no gradual, like, oh, hey, you hit 100 miles, you hit 200 miles, yay. It's like, nope, you got basically all of it or nothing. There are some various like sponsored or what are like partnership challenges where it's like, oh, hey, run a 5K in this like time period. It's like, okay, that's cool. I think there's like a couple different charity ones. So I'll probably do one of those. That'll be good. Mackenzie's random question of the day. Who is responsible for calling back after a dropped call? Whoever figures out that the call was dropped. Just somebody call back. If it's a dropped call, it's like, well, if you know it's you, for sure, try to call back as quick as you can. But if you aren't sure, even if you don't think it was you, give it a little bit of time and then try calling back. It's whether or not you should blame the person who's going through an area where they may not have great service. But either way, try to get back on the call relatively quickly. If like, okay, if you know that something's not going to work, I mean, try to call back when you can, but it's like, okay, if you're sitting at home, it's like, well, I know that my service was good and therefore you're not going to call back. Well, you look like a fool and you look kind of like an idiot and rude for doing that. So just call back. It's like, okay, hey, it didn't work. Think about it. It's like, okay, wait, is there anything that I did? And if you know it, okay, well, then you can address it. And if not, it's like, well, you're still going to try to do something. So call back when the call gets dropped. It doesn't really matter whose fault it was. Just try to call back. But Strava challenges look very, very strange. There's a couple different like 5K ones. I'm so sorry. Still getting used to talking again with the microphone. But well, there are, what do they call them? They call them partner challenges. Or there's a Sufferfest beer challenge. Complete 4 days of activity per week for 4 weeks. Details include minimum 20 minutes of moving time per activity. And there are a variety of qualifying activities. Completing this will earn you 25% off at the Sufferfest gear shop and a chance to win a new Garmin Fenix watch. Well, that's always fun. But why do they call it a beer challenge? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Oh, Sufferfest Beer Company. I didn't realize that was a beer company. I thought it was just like an active company. Nope, Sufferfest Beer Company was created to help celebrate the athlete and all of us. That's good. Okay, so it's a beer company. That explains a lot. Yeah, there's Allbirds, Roca, who makes like sunglasses, is doing a challenge as well. So there's a variety of different things out there that are significantly more achievable than, oh, hey, go ride 775 miles in a month. No thanks. That's a lot. For someone who is not training that hard. Like, again, 775, that's more than 20 miles a day. It's 25 miles a day. That's a lot of riding. And then if you're not going to ride every day, you have to pick it up, and oh my gosh, that's a lot of riding. No thanks. It's a lot of distance, but that's okay. I'm not going to aim to do that. It's just like, oh, sure. Gives me something to aim for like 3 months instead of maybe a month, but that's okay. What else is going on? How is everybody doing? What exciting things have you been trying to do now that it's May? Are we setting any goals for ourselves? If not, that's okay. You're just hopefully setting the goal to get through the month and not get overly stressed out by everything that's going on. Getting back in Des Moines, and now it's like, well, okay, I think I'll finally get to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. I did not have one yesterday. Baked potato, again, was pretty good, as was evidenced by me eating it. That was very good, but I don't know. It's like, has anybody picked up food from anywhere recently? I picked up, or I got food delivered a couple different times from Noodles and Company, and that was good. And then I picked up some food one weekend from Texas Roadhouse, and that was very, very good. But beyond that, I definitely have not done that much. So, what else is, what are people missing or searching for and having delivered or picking up at some point? I have been kind of interested in thinking about trying to pick up Cool Basil at some point. It's a bit of a drive for me. It's not super far, but Cool Basil's good. So I could definitely see trying to get that at some point. I like the restaurant, and so well, it's a way to support them a little bit, and it's very, very good. So that may be something at some point, is getting that. Um, what else are people missing or making more of food wise? I've definitely, once I start making sandwiches, I'm like, yeah, I know I've made a decent amount of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I could probably make a turkey and provolone sandwich as well for a little variety, but peanut butter and jelly, it's a little more comfort food. A little bit, it's like, okay, this is pretty easy to make, so it's not stressful to worry about trying to figure out. It's like, okay, well, do I have enough turkey to be able to make a sandwich? Okay, I do. Sweet. If I don't, well, what else am I going to do? I'm going to do like a turkey and ham sandwich combined, which would be, I think, kind of gross, but that's fine. Um, what else is going on? Again, it's very kind of ironic. Again, gas prices are still pretty decently low, but not many people are going anywhere. Um, so kind of a like, oh, this is great. We can't really take advantage of the low gas prices, which is fine. And just it's probably a little bit safer out there at times. Although different states have talked about having more severe speeding penalties. So they've had like more triple digit speeding tickets than in the past. Again, more open roads. People may have been a little bit more reckless. It's like, oh, I've got all this space. I can go faster. There's fewer people out here. Sure, why not? So that's definitely something I think along those lines we're seeing maybe fewer frequency claims, but definitely severity is going up because you're having a car get in an accident going 85, 90, 95, 100 miles per hour as opposed to like a two-car accident where the cars are going 40 miles per hour or 50 miles per hour, stuff like that. So that's definitely going on, and it makes for an interesting bit of analysis. Again, this whole like environment and stuff that's been created by this, it's just ripe for looking at like, okay, different social stuff. Um, about like thinking about churches trying to open back up or other places of worship, and how it's like, well, okay, you've got maybe splits between the different age groups within a congregation, and that you've got the older folks are wanting to get back to church and open it up and have folks get together, where the younger ones are like, no, let's not do that. No, thank you. It seems very, very risky. So that's an interesting dynamic at times. And whether or not there are leaders of congregations that step up in some way, like they may not be, like they're not rabbis and such, and priests, pastors, actual leaders of a congregation who are trying to organize stuff, or it's like you have just informal leadership stepping up and getting reading groups put together or figuring out, because live streaming any kind of worship service is probably, I mean, it's helpful, but it's also not probably nearly as, you're missing a distinct like aspect of the worship service, which is doing it in a collective group. You've got kind of like the support of the group, and you've got that environment. So are there other ways to kind of feed that or fill in that missing gap? Is it, you've got Zoom calls, the whole Facebook like portal thing, I'm not a big fan of, but this seems like a great, it's like, okay, yeah, you have some of those. I mean, they're not cheap and stuff, and webcams are probably fine. But you have stuff like that get set up where you've got groups that get together to do something virtually, in which you've got maybe somebody who organizes it and kind of helps people get set up and then lead the beginning of it, because like, well, okay, you all jump on a call. It's like, well, what's the purpose of this? Well, somebody's got it maybe organized in some way and can start a discussion maybe, but and then hopefully the others can participate in a way that is somewhat meaningful for them and is able to at least reduce the desire to meet in person, or at least replace a bit of what has been lost through not being able to attend a worship service together. So very, very interesting. And of course, I think Pence is visiting here on Friday to discuss stuff with various leaders in the community, faith, food, and there was something else. It was a nice little, like, I don't know if it was complete alliteration of like 3 F's or not, but that will be interesting. I did not see what kind of numbers we had today here in Iowa. The percentage of cases that were positive was decreasing inside the 22 counties. It had been like 85, 87%, and yesterday it was below 80%. So, okay, that's not great. So, see how it looks 10 days from the rest of this week, or from this last weekend. So, it's like, okay, how does it look in the middle of next week when you've got 10 to 14 days of, oh, hey, we've had good weather 2 weeks ago and now people were out and about more or something. I'm not sure, but certainly a way to, like, well, what's going to happen? Are all the places that have beaches have opened back up? Yeah, you're not going to see people maybe 2 or 3 days after it being sick, but okay, give it a week and a half, 2 weeks, who knows what happens. And that's definitely a little concerning. So I hopefully won't see that, but I'm not going to bet on that. I'm expecting something to happen, so it's not super encouraging, but that's okay. I do believe Kimi Ray is heading down to DC at some point, so then it begs the question, it's like, well, who's going to do the press conference? Who's going to give us the update on the numbers? But that's okay. What else is going on? Oh, IV has decided to start limiting the amount of meat that you can buy. I think it is, like, if you're ordering groceries online, it's like 4 things. Like, you can get 4 chicken, like, breast things, like chicken, ground beef, other beef, and pork. Like, I think it's probably from like their service counter and self-service case. You get like 4 things total per like visit, maybe. So I guess that makes some sense given the meat packing industry is struggling a bit due to the fact that they've had outbreaks at so many different facilities and stuff. So hopefully folks aren't too panicked by it. It's like, you're still able to buy meat, and there are still plenty of things that you can do besides just having like a meat-based diet. I don't think eggs were included in that. Eggs have gone up in price anyway, so it makes it a little less easy to, it's like, oh, you can just replace stuff with eggs. But it's like, eggs still exist. They're still cheaper than some things. So it's like, okay, those exist. There are vegetarian options, and we can start a little like vegetarian recipe club if we want. That actually sounds kind of interesting. So maybe we'll do that. Or if people have recipes, please share them, because I've run out of, like, it's also just like, well, I could make a recipe or look for a recipe, make the recipe, and then eat it. Or it's like, well, I know I can make scrambled eggs pretty easily, and that's fine. But I guess this is an opportunity to try a little bit of stuff. So maybe we share recipes or something. I don't know. But if we use Teams more, we could do that. But that's a different conversation. So that's okay. What else? What else? What else? How is weather in Columbus? How is stuff going out there? Maybe nobody from Columbus is listening. Well, that's okay. It's fine, because this has been going on for a long time, and it's been like, well, maybe you don't want to hear my voice anymore talking about different stuff, which is totally okay. But that's okay. I am here. I'm going to ask that wonderful question. What else? I have not watched any Korean baseball yet, and that's just fine. Just have not been that excited by it. I did start watching a couple more episodes of Sunderland Till I Die, season 2. Been good so far. Nothing too extraordinary, but it's a nice documentary series. Like, okay, yeah, just watching a team that is certainly not in the Premier League and is trying to get back there. So it's a nice contrast. It's like, oh yeah, there's a Manchester City documentary. It's like, well, it was from when they won the league and they won the double. Like, they won the cup and they won the league. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a team that is successful and has the financial backing of billionaires compared to Sunderland, which is in League One and is struggling. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is a nice contrast to that. And it's a bit more like, whoa, not like you. The Premier League is the most popular league in the world, and looking at other leagues, it's like, oh, this is very, very different. And the Premier League might be a bit more of an exception rather than the rule. So it's eye-opening, and it's like, okay, there's a nice humanization of the various people involved with the club, as well as different supporters in and around Sunderland. So that's been good. Did ride my bike yesterday, so that was good. Good to get on that. That felt good. Legs don't feel tired. Again, no impact from like riding my bike compared to going out and putting 4.5 miles out on the road. My legs feel significantly better. So probably will try to ride some more. We shall see how that goes. It's probably good to get out and run as well. My legs hurt afterwards. Like, the impact hurts. And I don't have the impact when I ride my bike. So definitely makes me want to ride my bike more than running. So I guess kind of see what I'll do from that eventually once I try to get back up and get ready for my triathlon in October. It'll be like, well, no, you have to go to run at least a little bit so that you're kind of used to how that feels and it doesn't hurt so much. And probably will do a couple of brick workouts, which isn't super fun, but that's okay. Yeah, running by itself kind of is painful at times already. So running after biking is going to feel less good. Ravi, I ran plenty fast. It was just fine. And it's like, well, less time is probably fair, but whether or not your impact is any less per step, I don't know. But less time is probably fine to cover the same amount of distance, but then you're going to like stress out other parts of your body and you have to try to properly balance that. Come on, Ravi. What else? Lots of colleges are ending pretty soon, so you've got all different virtual commencements and stuff going on. High schools are probably regular schools, like primary education, primary education, K through 12 is getting close to the end of school years. So, and Iowa's not opening back up anytime soon. So, see how that all goes. And I think different schools are putting different plans in place as they get closer to the summer in terms of determining whether or not they're actually going to try to return right away in the fall. And missing out on a bunch of summer school is definitely going to be interesting as well, in terms of whether or not they can get some way to kind of try to fill in the gaps that are certainly going to have happened. So Robbie's saying, I tell the kids there are 2 cures to any problems, ailments they may ever have. Run more and suck it up. What if they lose like a limb, Ravi? Because that's not going to be great. And emotionally, that's going to be hard to just suck it up. So that's fair. Yeah, run more and suck it up. My feet are bleeding. Run more. I don't know about that. But maybe they just need to get new shoes so then they can run more. So who knows? But what Now, speaking of, how do I get a substitute teacher? What do you mean? Like for your kids, like to bring in a substitute teacher? Um, or are they like, oh, you need a substitute teacher. That's what it is, probably. Um, well, the thing is, like, okay, whoa. Like, what if you set up little, like, teaching groups with parents that have got similar aged kids? So, like, you teach somebody else's kids for a day or two and just, I mean, you do it virtually. It's like, hey, we're going to do this for the day and see how it goes. And it can be like, ha, other kids can experience different forms of parenting and teaching and come back and feel significantly better about the way that we treat them. So maybe that's something. The problem is like you're still having to then teach, so it's not really a substitute. It's just, oh, you're switching. So I don't know if that's what you want to do, but I do wonder. It's like, again, there's a bunch of substitute teachers that are not doing stuff now. So is there a way for them to still do stuff? It's like, okay, if a teacher takes a day off for some reason, like if they get sick, how do they get substituted? So what happens there? And how does that curriculum get covered? I think my sister's been saying that she submits lessons plans for like the week in advance. So like before the Monday of next week, she has to submit all the different lesson things that they are going to be going through. Again, she teaches first grade, so it's a little bit different than you've got 3 or 4 different math classes that you teach in high school. So that might be yawning. That might be a little bit different. Robbie's saying he's working on having them transfer to a different class. That's probably a good idea. Especially if you think they are just not understanding everything that their current teacher is trying to explain to them, and whether or not that's just their lacking of understanding or just not getting it, or whether or not the fault should fall on the shoulders of the teacher. It's probably hard to say. So don't really know. And at times it might be both. So it might just be, it's like, okay, you need to have a heart to heart between the student and the teacher. Be like, okay, well, what is working, what isn't working? And it's a good opportunity to work on adaptability. I know, Ravi. I know you meant out of your class. Again, the teacher might have to have a little heart to heart with their students to figure out what does or doesn't work. So, yeah. Again, yeah, it's like, I wonder how much of an appreciation teachers or students and families are having for their actual teachers now, because what did I see? I think I saw a joke, or like a joke comic or something. Well, comics are jokes. That had a person like driving an SUV, and on the back it was like, you lied in parent teacher conferences. My child is not a joy to have in class. Like, oh, that's not so fun, but that's okay. Just different appreciations for different parts of lives. Now it's like, well, those don't exist anymore. It's like there's no just going to school. So that's different and strange, but hopefully we get to return to that at some point. But again, say, yeah, what are you gonna? It's like, are you gonna want to have kids return to like schools that are normal? My phone is kind of has got like junk in the camera area. But like, what are cafeterias gonna look like? Are they gonna have like dividers and stuff that kids can sit at, or are we just gonna say, well, it's been enough time and we wipe it down thoroughly, so it's like it's going to be fine? But it's like 3 months away. 3.5 months away is when school would be starting up again, and who knows? Again, 3.5 months from 3.5 months ago, we were, what is that? That's the middle of January, and we're not really that concerned about it. So who knows what can happen between now and 3 months from now. So lots of stuff up in the air. But yeah. And yeah, teaching, it's like, okay, yeah, you have a classroom of 20 kids in it and it's a closed space. It's like, well, that's a lot of people in a small area. And then very similar to what happens already is like they bring germs from 20 homes and mesh them together, and then they go back to their homes, and you're bringing a bunch of different germs home. And so, well, they already get sick normally. So who knows what happens with this all out there. But maybe it'll just mean that, hey, we're going to really clean schools more and more, and you'll have schools that are a bit cleaner, which would probably be a good thing. But also, just, but anyway, it is 11:45 Central, 12:45 Eastern. I think we'll do this again tomorrow, so a 23.5 hour break. Until then, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Wednesday. Happy hump day. Have a good day. Remember to wash your hands, and please don't touch your face immediately after coming inside from being outside and interacting with other people. Always remember to wash those hands. Wear a mask if you feel comfortable with it, because that is probably going to help both you and the people around you. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday.